how big your demand is, because it is a competitive market and you don't have perfect information, for example. That's like one huge thing. The other thing is not knowing where it's going to go in the future. There are so many variables that you cannot predict. For example, I was on transportation, so there would be things such as how quickly are we going to be able to transition this fleet of buses from using diesel fuel to all using electricity, and where is that electricity going to come from? How much infrastructure is that going to create? It's not as simple as, oh, we're just going to transition and this is just going to be really, really easy and just happen with the snap of your fingers. It really isn't, because construction takes time. A lot of bureaucracy is about paperwork filing, and all of that also takes time. And accounting for all of those things makes for a much more interesting project nonetheless, but it was also definitely something we weren't expecting when we were going into it.
And you guys completed this project the end of the summer last year. Can you talk about what happened once you published this research?
Yeah, sure. So we sent the paper to the Sierra Club, and showed them basically what we had done over the summer. Showed it to the staff there, showed it to the kind of collective of nonprofits that they were assembling over the course of the summer. They were, pretty impressed with the report. They certainly weren't expecting a group of kids, on their summer vacation to put together 60 pages of research. What we were really excited about was the response in the city. So our report was, was forwarded to folks in the administration, kind of in City Hall, and we were told at least that it changed the conversation in terms of the feasibility and kind of like the political willingness to take on this resolution, to kind of seriously consider it. And so the resolution, the commitment for renewable energy was announced just last week, and as a part of the city's new resilience plan. And then that will lead to an introduction of a resolution that calls on the city to commit to 100% renewable energy that the city council will vote on then in April. And so, the impact of this was huge. It was super direct. And it seems that, the city is at least moving towards approving commitment to 100% renewable energy.
And that's absolutely incredible. So the mayor is backing this resolution. What impact will it have if this is approved, given in April?
Yeah, so I think, Chicago will be the largest city so far to commit to 100% renewable energy. And so I think the precedent that it sets should be pretty significant. You've had a lot of other cities around the country commit to 100% renewable, but having the magnitude of Chicago means that, Houston or New York can do it. And so I think that the symbolism behind it is quite significant. I also think that it will, once implemented, it will be an incredible economic opportunity for the city. It'll also kind of drive development in neighborhoods that really need it most, right? So a conversation that was, continually coming up through the process over the summer and through the planning for this is how to make sure that we prioritize areas that have been kind of historically disadvantaged, both kind of in terms of income, in terms of race, but also in terms of environmental impact. So there's a report from the National Resource Defense Council that showed that the south and west side of Chicago are disproportionately affected by local pollution, whether that be from traffic or kind of industrial centers. Brownfields are another thing that are decommissioned industrial kind of fields that let behind a lot of pollution, a lot of waste in the soil. And so it provides a real opportunity to kind of target and prioritize those communities, which is something that is really important and that I think is kind of centered, the center of the resolution that would be passed theoretically in April.
All right. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today to talk about all the incredible and impactful work that PDI is doing. And a special thank you to our listeners as well as our partners.
And that's a wrap on our latest episode. You just heard Rimsha Nazeer, Zarek Drozda, and Vanessa Ma, who recorded this podcast. Also, big thanks to Lauren Lee, who produced it. And special thanks to the Paul Douglas Institute, who we're excited to keep working with. Want to hear more? Check out our newest release, The Walk-Ons. It's a look at the world of sports through the lens of public policy, and they just put out a really cool episode on mixed martial arts. You can subscribe to this podcast and all of our other podcasts on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. One last thing, we're releasing our brand new website tomorrow. You can find it at uc3p.org. It'll help you connect with us, and we can't wait for you to see it. Looks pretty cool. That's enough from me, David Raban. We'll see you next Friday.